हेलो। वेरी गुड मॉर्निंग सर।
Very good morning, sir. Very good morning, madam.
Morning, sir. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm keeping fine. How are you, ma'am?
Yeah, fine, sir. Nice to see you
Me too, ma'am.
as a resource person. It was a long time we were talking about it,
Yes,
and
sir.
it could materialize now. Thank you
Yes.
so much for accepting the invitation and being here.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Anyway,
I
we have-
extend my sincere thanks to you and sir also.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So we'll begin the session exactly at 9:30, sir.
Okay, ma'am.
We have made you as a co-host also.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll begin because some more participants are joining. We
Okay.
have told them to join at 9:15. So by 9:30, all will join. So once,
Absolutely fine.
yes.
No problem. No
Yes,
problem.
fine. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
कोणत्या कॉलेज निघाले का माहिती काय तुम्ही कामात काम टाळीत कावळा साजला बघ टाळीत कावळा साजला
Can we start, sir?
Sure, sir. 1 second, sir.
Okay. So if you can switch on the camera, I'll begin with the introduction. Okay, fine, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Very good morning to one and all. I welcome you all for this last day of this FDP program, and this is 13th session of this FDP by an eminent speaker, Dr. D. Nagswamy Venkatesh, sir, Associate Professor, JSS College of Pharmacy, Ooty. His topic of presentation is applications of QBD, quality by design, in the development of phytosomes, a novel drug delivery approach for phytoconstituents. So I request Dr. F.S. Dasan Kupa, Madam, Professor, Kelly College of Pharmacy, Hubli, to introduce the eminent speaker to the delegates.
Yes, a warm welcome to all the delegates as well as the eminent speaker, Dr. Nagswamy Venkatesh, sir. I take this privilege to read the biography or biodata of sir. Dr. D. Nagaswamy Venkatesh is working as an associate professor in Department of Pharmaceutics, JSS College of Pharmacy, Ooty. His interest is in developing certain nano-based drug delivery system for antiviral and anti-cancer drugs. His research is also involved in developing sustained or controlled release drug delivery system for drugs and analytic and bioanalytical method development. He serves as a reviewer for more than 25 peer-reviewed journals, including AAPS, Carbohydrate, Polymer, Indian Journal of Pharmaceutical Sciences. Sir has authored more than 50 peer-reviewed publications. He has received 2 awards for his presentations and publication in national level seminars. The research interest, as I spelled out, sir is very much his keen interest area is nano-based formulations, especially for antiviral treatment and anti-cancerous. He has also developed certain sustained and controlled drug delivery system for drugs and also dissolution enhancement of the drugs. Sir's qualification is MPharm PhD, and number of research papers sir has published is 30, review papers 30, number of book chapters 2. Sir has also filed 1 patent. Number of conferences attended are 15. Number of guest lecture delivered are 15. He's a life member of IPA, APTI, and SPER. With this brief introduction, I request sir to take over the session.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, madam. Thank you for the nice
morning, sir.
introduction given from your end. Good morning to all the participants in and across India. It's my privilege to be associated with this FDP, and I extend my sincere thanks for the KLE's College of Pharmacy for giving me an opportunity to discuss this particular topic in this morning. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir, very clear.
My slides are visible, sir?
Yes, sir, visible.
So the topic for today's morning session is applications of QBD in the development of phytosomes, a novel approach in delivery of phytoconstituents. So these are all the roadmap of my presentation today. Phytoconstituents introduction, phytoconstituents advantages and disadvantages, phytosomes introduction, the advantages and disadvantages of phytosomes, various components of phytosomes. In phytosomes, what is the role of phosphatidylcholine, different properties of phytosomes, formulation of phytosomes, the difference between the phytosomes and liposome formulation, characterization technique which are available for the phytosomes, evaluation parameters for phytosomes, QPD-based approach in developing phytosomal formulation, certain case studies and marketed formulations of phytosomes, and patented technologies in phytosomal formulations.
So sorry to disturb. Sir,
Yeah.
please in the presentation mode, in slide mode, presentation.
1 minute. Is it okay, ma'am?
Yes,
now?
yes, sir. Yes. Thank you.
So coming to the brief introduction about the phytoconstituents, we all very well know that herbs and medicinal plants are known for millennium years, and they have been highly recognized as rich source of therapeutic agents for the treatment and as well as prevention of many diseases and ailments. From ancient time, these medicinal plants and as well as the herbs were used by the mankind. The advances in the herbal drug delivery has received greater attention for treating the diseases. Coming to the phytomedicines, these medicines are complex chemical mixture that has been obtained from the plants used for the health maintenance since ancient time. Therefore, over the past decades, considerable research has been focused on the plant extracts to identify the chemical composition and the indications to treat various diseases. Until now, more than 4,000 naturally occurring flavonoids, that is secondary metabolites, have been extracted and identified for their pharmacological effect. As per the recent WHO information, 80% of the inhabitants in this planet, they rely on the plant products or natural products. India is also known for the traditional knowledge of use of medicinal plants owing to variable living traditions. The recent information also reveals that traditional medicinal market value has a growth of 10 to 12% annually. In India, the medicinal plant value estimates about 5,000 crores and export value of 550 crores annually. But as compared to the global scenario with respect to US, which contributes, that is US dollars, $60 billion, and as compared to that international performance, our Indian performance is very less. Since long time, these herbal medicines were not considered for the development of novel formulation. The reasons behind are lack of scientific justification, processing difficulties that includes extensive extraction process, and the identification of individual drug component in the polyherbal system. And apart from that, the separation and purification process may lead to the loss of activity of the particular phytoconstituent. Moreover, most of the biologically active phytoconstituents are polar, water soluble in nature, to name few: flavonoids, tannins, and glycosidic glycans. So the problems which are commonly associated with these phytoconstituents are poorly absorbed by the oral route due to large molecular size that hampers the absorption by passive diffusion process. Recently, there is a paradigm shift in developing a novel drug delivery system for the herbal medicines through scientific approach. Some of the modern approaches which involves in the development of herbal novel formulations are nanoparticles, microemulsions, matrix systems, liposomes, solid dispersions and liposomes, and of course, phytosomes. So as compared to the
Sir.
yes.
Sir, the screen is still. It's not.
No,
moving.
I'm giving the introduction. Then I will go.
Okay,
to this.
okay, fine. Okay, sorry for that.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Fine. The side effects that has been obtained or observed from the allopathic medicines has led to the focus on the research on plant-based products. So now let us see a brief introduction for the phytoconstituents. So phytoconstituents are defined as the products that are obtained from the plants or parts of the plants which are widely used as medicines in ancient times, and till today, the use of phytomedicines is widespread in most of the world's populations. Moreover, the medicinal plants that have been known for many decades and highly recognized as a rich source of therapeutic agents, health promoting benefits, and offering numerous botanical properties for the prevention and treatment of diseases and ailments. However, during the couple of decades, the chemical and pharmacological sciences has established the composition, biological activities, and health-giving benefits for the numerous plant extracts. So it is often observed that the separation and purification of the herbal products, that is plant extracts, may lead to potential loss or partial loss of specific activity of the purified components. It is observed most of the phytoconstituents are flavonoids, terpenoids, and polyphenolics, which are highly polar in nature and water soluble in properties. These water-soluble constituents are poorly absorbed due to poor lipid solubility, and they find inability to cross the highly lipid-rich biological membranes, which results in poor bioavailability. So many approaches have been developed for the improvement of the bioavailability of herbal drugs. That includes the usage of bioavailability enhancers, modification in the structure, and entrapping the herbal moiety in the lipophilic carrier. The chemical complexity of the crude or partially purified extract seems to be essential for the bioavailability of the active constituents. However, some water-soluble extracts, when taken through oral route of administration, gets destroyed in the gastric environment. Recently, a greater focus has been developed for developing a drug delivery system for the herbal medicines by a scientific approach, and this approach is an emerging technique which is applied to the phytoconstituents for the enhancement of bioavailability for medical applications. So this is the present global market scenario for the phytoconstituents. If you see the year 2013, the global market is $23.2 billion, and in 2014 it is $24.4 billion, and in case of 2015 it is $25.6 billion US billion dollars in US billion dollars. In 2020 it is $35.4 billion dollar. We can see from the slide that there is a compound annual growth of 6.6% from 2015 till 2020. And this slide depicts the contribution of phytoconstituents in the pharmaceutical industry. We have medicines, the total contribution is 34%, and among the 34%, 6% is contributed by natural products, whereas 28% is contributed from the derivatives of the natural products. And this is the global utilization of medicinal plants by different countries. In fact, to a certain extent, China and India contributes more. China stands first with regard to the plant species, and followed by Indonesia, and followed by USA and India. And this is the percentage contribution, whereas 18.9% contributed from China, and 20% from India, and 4.4% from Indonesia. And this process keeps on increasing year to year. Then let us see the advantages of phytoconstituents. They are obtained or isolated from the natural source, plant origin, and they bear the rich source of pharmacologically active natural products, example alkaloids. They are abundantly available. They are biocompatible with the system. They improve the potency and safety for the patient point of view. In certain cases, they act as lead molecules for the discovery of new entities. However, they have good advantages. There are certain disadvantages are also associated with the phytoconstituents in conventional dosage form. Despite the phytoconstituents have very good bioactivity in vitro, they have less or poor action in the in vivo models. The reason behind are poor lipid solubility, possessing improper molecule size that finds difficulty in crossing the biological membranes, and difficult to enter into the systemic circulation when given by oral route and as well as the topical route. Apart from that, they are water soluble, so they exhibit high polarity. And to name few examples, flavonoids, tannins, and glycosidic glycans. However, some of the phytoconstituents that have long chains and high polarity, that also faces problem in causing the lipidic skim by passive diffusion process. Apart from this, there are other problems also encountered by the phytoconstituents. The first one is the destruction by the gastric environment, or the undesirable gastric environment causes the destruction of the herbal constituents. Apart from this, when individual compounds were separated from the whole plant, they lost the activity, and the synergy of the phytoconstituent was also lost. The other reason is the chemical complexity of the crude or partially purified extract seems to be essential for the viability of the active constituents. So how we can overcome this problem that are facing by the phytoconstituents? In recent years, a tremendous effort has been developed for the development of novel drug delivery system for herbal drugs and plant extracts. So the main intention for developing such system is to focus the enhancement of rate of release, and as well as the ability to cross the lipid-rich biomembranes. So some of the systems are polymeric nanoparticles, nanosomes, transferosomes, pharmacosomes, and solid lipid nanoparticles. So novel phospholipid complexation technique is also termed as phytosomes that plays a vital role in increasing the absorption and as well as improving the bioavailability of the phytoconstituents, which has been facing the problem of poor solubility and as well as the ability to cross the inability to cross the biological membranes. So later, it was discovered that the complexation with other clinically useful nutrients, namely the phospholipids, that substantially improve the bioavailability of such herbal extracts. These nutrients are also enhancing the absorption of phytoconstituents, and phospholipid-based systems were found to be a promising and as well as effective carrier of phytoconstituents. How do they act? They resemble like cell membrane building blocks, which are made up of matrix, which can accommodate a large variety of proteins, enzymes, and as well as biologically active converters. In humans and animals, these phospholipids are also helps in natural digestive process and as a carrier for both fat miscible and as well as water miscible nutrients. So coming to the introduction part of the phytosomes, the term phyto means plant, whereas somas means cell-like structure. However, this technique is developed by Indian Aspe, Italy. They are the sole patent, they hold the patent intellectual property rights for the phytosomes. They identified that incorporating the phospholipids into a standard extract so vastly improve the absorption and as well as the utilization of the phytoconstituents. The phytosomes, they resemble like cell-like structure, and they overcome the limitations of the conventional drug delivery systems by enhanced absorption and bioavailability process. In phytosomes, they contain bioactive phytoconstituents of herbal extracts which are surrounded by the lipids. So in continuation, phytosome itself acts as a small cell-like structure, and it protects the valuable components of the herbal extracts which are encapsulated into the system by destruction by digestive secretion and gut bacteria. The water-soluble constituents can be converted into a lipid-compatible molecular complexes that facilitates the herbal extract to pass through effectively through lipid-rich biomolecules. However, these water-soluble constituents are poorly absorbed due to their poor lipid solubility, large molecular weight, and poor absorption by passive diffusion process. And poor lipid solubility causes rate-limiting step to pass across the lipid-rich biological membrane. Many phytomedicines are limited in their effectives due to this poor absorption process when they have taken through oral route of administration. However, incorporating the phospholipids into the standardized extracts improves the absorption and better utilization of the phytoconstituents. So phytosomes can able to transfer from a hydrophilic environment into this lipid-friendly environment of the enterocyte cell membrane, and they enter into the cell finally reaching the blood. So some examples are flavonoid and terpenoid constituents of plant extracts lend themselves quite well with direct binding with phosphatidylcholine. So advantages are they enhances the absorption process of lipid insoluble polar phytoconstituents through oral route to increase the bioavailability. Thereby it offers therapeutic benefit. Also, the absorption of the active constituent is improved. Thereby, the dose which is required for the therapy will be reduced. Phosphatidylcholine, which is used in the preparation of phytoconstituent as one of the component, besides acting as a carrier, it also offers very good hepatoprotective effect. Therefore, giving a synergistic effect when hepatoprotective agents are incorporated into the phytosomes. So some of the other advantages are phytosomes have better stability than the liposome formulation because the former consists of the chemical bonds which is not present in the liposomes. The process of manufacturing phytosomes is relatively simple, and the composition or the components which are used in the phytosomes are safe and approved for the pharmaceutical use. Phytosomes ensures increased duration of action for the herbal drugs. Phytosomes enhance the absorption of hydrophilic polar phytoconstituents through oral route, topical route, and other route, thereby facilitates the increase in the bioavailability. And phytosome persuades proper delivery of drug to the respective tissues. The nutrient safety of the herbal extracts may not be compromised by assigning the herbal drug as means of phytosomes. And the dose requirement can also be reduced due to the maximum absorption of principal constituents from the phytosomes. They improve the absorption process of biologically active constituents and reduces the dose requirement. The formation of chemical bonds between the phosphatidylcholine molecule and the phytoconstituents exhibits very good stability profile of the phytosomes. With regard to the transdermal absorption, the phytosomes improves absorption process of the phytoconstituents, which are widely used in cosmetics for skin permeation and due to high lipid profile. Also, the phytoconstituents from the phytosomes can easily permeate with the intestinal walls of the tissue and better absorbed. The complex is biodegradable in nature, and entrapment of drug is not a problem with regard to the phytosomes. They intensify the effect of herbal compounds by facilitating improved absorption process, enhancing the biological activity, and delivering to the target tissue. Thereby, the phytosomes are regarded as suitable drug delivery system for phytoconstituents. Entrapment efficiency is also high because the drug itself is in conjugation with the lipids, forming the vesicles. So we have seen the advantages of phytosomes. There are some disadvantages which are associated with phytosomes, or the phytoconstituent is rapidly eliminated from the phytosomes if it is not properly stored. And coming to the components of phytosomes, the main components are phospholipids, chiefly phosphatidylcholine or phosphatidylserine, which has the bifunctional compound possessing both the lipophilic phosphatidyl moiety and hydrophilic choline moiety. And we need to use an organic solvent, that is aprotic organic solvent, that could be either dioxin or acetone, and phytoconstituents, mainly flavonoids and terpenoids. And this is the diagram that shows the association of the phytoconstituent with the lipid moiety. So the polar head group is there, which has the phosphoester bonds. This box indicates the glycerol component, and fatty acid tail, which is hydrophobic in nature, which forms the interior part of the lipid membrane. So what is the role of phosphatidylcholine in phytosome, which is the most important ingredient in the phytosome formulation to make phytoconstituent compatible with each other. Mainly this phosphatidylcholine is obtained from the soya, which is a molecular building block for the cell membranes and miscible with water and oil environments and well absorbed by oral route. The chemical analysis of the phytosomes indicated that the phytoconstituents are usually linked with at least one phosphatidylcholine molecules. So the other role of phosphatidylcholine is it renders the passive carrier for the bioactive phytoconstituent of the phytosomes, and it also acts as a bioactive nutrient to exhibit the clinical efficacy in case of liver disease, alcoholic liver steatosis, drug-induced liver damage, and hepatitis. So with regard to the phosphatidylcholine, it bears two major groups. One is the phosphatidyl group, which is lipophilic in nature, and choline, which is hydrophilic in nature. So the dual solubility of the phospholipids makes an effective emulsifier. In this process, the choline portion of the phosphatidylcholine binds with the herbal extract, whereas the phosphatidyl group covers the phytoconstituents and forms like a cell-like structure that protects the active constituents from the destruction by digestive juices. Therefore, the phytoconstituents produces a lipid-compatible molecular complex with the phospholipids. And apart from that, it has been revealed that the phosphatidylcholine can improve the memory function and also in muscle control in humans. So a complex between natural product and natural phospholipids, the results from the reaction of stoichiometric amount of phospholipids with selected polyphenol, which could be flavonoids or terpenes in a non-polar solvent. Phytosomes can accommodate the active principle that is anchored to the polar head of the phospholipids and forming an integral part of the membrane. So properties of phytosomes are They are lipophilic substance with definite melting point, freely soluble in nonpolar solvents and moderately soluble in fats. Upon exposure to water, they resume like micellar shape, forming a structure which are similar to that of liposome, exhibiting fundamental differences. So what is the necessary for to use phytosome complex? There is a dramatic enhancement of bioavailability of botanical extract due to the complexation with the phospholipids and improved absorption in the GIT. Apart from that, the phytosomes can exhibit better stability profile since the chemical bonds formed between the phosphatidylcholine molecules and as well as phytoconstituents. The other reasons behind using the phytosome complex are cost-effective delivery of phytosomes and synergistic benefits when used as functional cosmetics to protect the skin against exogenous or endogenous hazards in normal and as well as the stressful environmental conditions. The entrapment efficiency was found to be high and they can able to enhance the skin permeation of the drug by transdermal or dermal drug delivery. They act superior to liposomes in case of skincare products. The risk profile is very low and they also offer highly attractive market profile for products with proprietary technology. So this is the mechanism of drug delivery from phytosomes to the cell membrane. So here the phytosome drug delivery system approaches the cell membrane and the delivery of the phytoconstituents takes place by the process of diffusion. And this is a small differences between the phytosomes and as well as the liposomes. In phytosomes, the active chemical constituents are anchored through chemical bonds to the polar heads of the phospholipids, whereas in liposomes, the active chemical constituents dissolved in the medium of cavity or in the layers of the membrane. There is no chemical bonds involved. The ratio of phosphatidylcholine in case of phytosomes are usually in the range of either 1:1 or 2:1, but whereas in case of liposomes, thousands of phosphatidylcholine molecules surrounds the water-soluble molecules. And this is the diagram that represents the difference between the liposomes and liposome and phytosomes. In liposomes, the water-soluble free drugs are entrapped in the aqueous phase, whereas in case of phytosomes, the water-soluble free drug is entrapped by the lipid membranes. Coming to the formulation aspect of phytosome, which is very easy. The first stage involves the solubilization of phospholipid in an organic solvent which contains the drug. This is subjected for the drying process, which eventually leads to the formation of thin film, and this is followed by the hydration process. The solution
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sorry to disturb. Can you just increase the volume, sir?
Volume
of your
sir?
mic? Yeah.
One second. Is it okay, sir? Little bit more.
A little bit more.
Is it okay? Is it okay, sir?
Is it 100%, sir? Volume, mic?
Speakers headphone 100%, sir.
Speakers.
One second. Is it okay, sir?
Okay, sir. Fine.
Okay, sir. Again, I need to make it. My slides are visible, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So the formulation aspect of phytosomes, in which the phospholipid is dissolved in an organic solvent which contains the drug extract, which is followed by the drying process, leads to the formation of thin film, which is subsequently hydrated with suitable aqueous phase. This forms the solution of phospholipid in organic solvent with drug extract. Ultimately, the final formulation is phytosomal suspension. This is isolated, precipitated, lyophilized by freeze drying process. And this is the polyphenol complex dissolved in protic solvent along with the phospholipid, subjected for the reflexing and concentrated under reduced pressure, leads to the drying and grinding process. So here the polyphenol entrapment in the lipid layer, which is shown in triangle. Then the characterization of the phytosomes. The first one is the visualization process. The visualization process involves the size and shape determination, which is done by the transmission electron microscopy and scanning electron microscopy. And entrapment efficiency is done by ultracentrifugation technique to understand how much quantity of the phytoconstituents are entrapped into the phytosomes. Then we have the transition temperature. The transition temperature of the vesicular lipid systems can be determined by differential scanning calorimetry techniques. Then surface tension activity measurement. This is done by Dew noisy ring tensirometer. Then vesicle stability can be determined by size and structure of vesicle over a period of time. Then drug content, suitable analytical method such as HPLC and spectroscopic methods are involved for the quantification of drug content into the phytosomes. Then there are some spectroscopic evaluations are also being carried out to confirm the complex formation between the phytoconstituent and as well as the phospholipids. So the first technique is NMR technique. This technique is used to identify the signals which are released from the atoms in the complex, especially with the phospholipids. That is NCH3 of choline undergoes uplift shift. And we have C1 NMR to identify the broadening and shifting signals, which is corresponding to the glyceryl and choline group upon heating to 60 degrees centigrade. And other than that, we have the FTIR technique also. So the FTIR technique is used to understand any incompatibility between the phytoconstituent and as well as the other components which are used in the phytosomes. Then in vitro and in vivo evaluation. So models of different in vitro and in vivo evaluations are selected based on the therapeutic activity of the phytoconstituents which are present in the phytosomes. In case of in vitro anti-hepatotoxic activity, this can be assessed by antioxidant and as well as the free radical scavenging technology. For estimating the anti-hepatotoxic activity in vivo, the effect of the prepared phytosomes can be compared with the hepatotoxicity, which is induced by thioacetamide, paracetamol, or alcohol with respect to suitable models. The skin sensitization and tolerability studies of glyceric acid phytosome ointment, which is a commercially available product for the treatment of sunburns, etc., that can also be assessed by in vivo method. Then pharmacokinetic study, the bioavailability study of the phytosomes can be estimated by using a dog model to establish the pharmacokinetic data. So one study that has been done using the silibin phosphatidylcholine complex. And coming to the QPD based approach for the phytosome research outcome one. So these are all some of the studies that has been done and it has been published in very good papers. So the first one is the development and optimization of epigalactocatechin 3-gallate nanophytosome using design of experiment and their in vivo anti-inflammatory study. And this is the source for the presentation. So in this study, they have taken 2 levels, that is low and high level, and 4 factors have been studied. So these 4 factors are rate of addition, stirring speed, stirring time, stirring temperature, etc. The desired outcomes of this research is average particle size, which is low, and drug loading is high. So they have done full factorial experimental design, high level and low level. These are all the different process parameters which are involved in the study. The first one is the addition rate. Addition rate is that is 20 seconds, 2 ml per second, and low is 60 seconds, that is 0.67 ml per second. The stirring speed they kept high as 1400 RPM and low as 700 RPM. Stirring time is 30 minutes, and in case of low, it is 15 minutes. The stirring temperature is 24 degrees centigrade in case of high, and in case of low temperature, it is 12 degrees centigrade. 12 degrees centigrade. Okay, these are all the study. The outcomes are other material attributes are drug concentration. They have kept two levels. One is high level, another one is the low level. In high level, it is 100 mg. Low level, it is 50 mg. Phospholipid concentration is 100 mg high level, and low level is 10 mg. Cholesterol concentration is 10 mg, and low level is 2 mg. They have used two buffers. One buffer is high buffer with 7, and the low buffer is 5.5. And these are all the different experimental run they have done. They have done 16 experimental run with the different process parameters. That is addition rate for the first 4 batches high, followed by low in case of other 4 batches, and followed by high, low, high. Stirring speed also they have kept it at high, low, etc. Stirring time also high, low, and stirring temperature high, low, and followed by high, low, etc. So this is also with regard to the drug concentration. Initially, they have kept it as high, low, high, low. Phospholipid concentration also high, low. Cholesterol concentration also high, low, and buffer also high, low, like that. It has been carried out for 16 batches with different process parameters. And this is the results that shows the effect of different process parameters with regard to particle size and drug loading. So from these batches, they are coming to a conclusion that the lowest particle size could be found with the batch 15, in which the addition rate and high stirring speed were found to be high, and the stirring time found to be low, and stirring temperature was found to be high. And the particle size is 135 plus or minus 6 nanometers. With 78.93% of drug loading. And this is the DOE material attributes for in this also they have used the high concentration of drug, phospholipid concentration high. They could find the highest entrapment efficiency was observed with batch number 10. And the minimum particle size they could find with the batch 1256 plus or minus 52 nanometers. So the outcomes of this study are the particle size of the phytosomes with green tree extracts were in the range of 100 to 250 nanometers, which is evaluated by dynamic light scattering technology. The batch 15 showed lowest average particle size with high entrapment efficiency. The polydispersity index of the phytosomes were low, which is indicated the monodispersed system with a value of 0.196. And the addition rate and stirring temperature in the study found to have more significant effect on the particle size of the phytosomes. The batch processed with high addition rate exhibited smaller particle size of 135 plus or minus 6 nanometer as compared to other batches processed with lower addition rate, that is 1596 nanometers. So the addition rate and as well as the stirring temperature played a vital role in the particle size of this formulation. Batches formulated with high addition rate exhibited smaller particle size as compared with batches processed with low addition rate. Further, it has been observed that the stirring temperature on the prospective batch exhibited low average particle size. The stirring temperature has significant effect on the phytoconstituent loading, that is entrapment efficiency in the phospholipids where the p-value is less than 0.001. The phytosomal batch processed with low temperature exhibited highest entrapment efficiency. And this is the Pareto chart, the main effects and as well as the process parameters. So these two things have the greater influence on the formulation of the phytosomes, that is addition rate and as well as the temperature. Next, we have the main effects, that is process parameter on the average drug loading efficiency. Here also the addition rate and as well as the stirring rate has influenced the entrapment efficiency and particle size. Similarly, for the size and as well as the drug loading, the temperature and as well as the stirring rate has influence. Further, they have discussed two interaction process parameters were not significant in the average particle size of the phytosome, but they have exhibited significant impact on the effect of drug loading due to slow addition rate, low stirring temperature. So these two parameters had given very good contribution for the phytosomal formulation. The next one is the another case study, development and characterization of nano drug delivery system containing the Vesica phospholipid complex to improve the bioavailability using the quality by design approach. And this is the source for that. They have used a Box-Benken design, the factorial design using the design expert software to employ to optimize the phytosomes. So in this, the independent variables, which is nothing but the critical material attributes, are low, medium, and high, and phospholipid concentration is X1, stirring temperature is X2, and stirring time is X3. The responses with regard to critical quality attribute is the percentage yield and as well as the particle size. So these are all the independent variables. Phospholipid concentration, they have kept low, medium, high, -1, 0, +1. Phospholipid concentration is 1, 2, 4 respectively. Stirring temperature, they have kept as between 40 to 60 degrees centigrade, and stirring time is 60 to 180 minutes. Sorry. The dependent variables are the percentage yield should be more than 95%. The particle size should be minimum less than 300 nanometers, and the entrapment efficiency should be more than 95%. And these are all the outcomes of the different run. They have run the sample for 15 runs with regard to different composition of phosphatidylcholine concentration and the temperature and the time of stirring time. So the responses are the percentage yield, particle size, and as well as the entrapment efficiency. So the first batch exhibited maximum yield with 97.03% with the particle size of 231 nanometers and the entrapment efficiency close to 96%. Similarly, this has been observed for the other batches also, and the results were shown. So they have done 15 batches of 15 batches were run to get 3 center points. This data were obtained into the design expert software. Based on the results, the response surface analysis were carried out, and the counter plots and 3D response surface were constructed to understand the relationship of different variables and their interaction. The effect of different critical material attributes on the critical quality attributes were analyzed, and a second order polynomial models were established and adopted into multiple linear regression models. So ANOVA was employed to corroborate the design. The quality attributes were set at the target level, and disable formulation design was resolved to apply the checkpoint analysis and desirability approach using the design expert software. There are also some restraints for quality attributes were set at the target levels, and desirable formulation design was resolved to apply checkpoint analysis and the desirability approach using the design expert software. optimum formulation was designated based on the numerical optimization procedure using the desirability function. So they have kept the one critical material attribute constant, whereas the other material, one critical material attributes was kept constant, other parameters were kept changed. And this is the counter plots for evaluating the CMA and CQA, where the temperature and as well as the phospholipid concentration played a major role in getting the percentage yield. And with regard to the particle size, the phospholipid concentration and temperature played a major role, and entrapment efficiency also. The phospholipid concentration and the temperature has important effect on entrapment efficiency. So this is the three graphs that has been shown, and this is the 3D response plot for evaluating the critical material attributes with regard to percentage yield, particle size, and as well as the entrapment efficiency. So the temperature and as well as the phospholipid concentration greatly influence on the particle percentage yield and as well as the particle size and as well as the entrapment efficiency. So the yield, the phytosome yield was enhanced with a decrease in the phospholipid concentration at low temperature situation. Upon increasing the phospholipid concentration, the yield was found to be decreased at low temperature. With regard to the particle size, decrease with the low concentration of phospholipid at high concentration. Coming to the entrapment efficiency, the entrapment efficiency increased with the low phospholipid concentration at low temperature. They've also discussed that the stirring time does not exhibited any effect on yield and entrapment efficiency, but longer the stirring time exhibited reduction in the particle size. So the numerical optimization revealed that the phytosome formulation of extract and the phosphatidylcholine in the ratio of 1:1 and the addition rate of 47.9 and stirring temperature of 146 with a stirring time of 120 minutes achieved a overall desirability of 0.94, which is less than 1. And other optimized numerical optimization of phytosomes exhibited the percentage yield of 95.89, particle size 231 nanometer, and the entrapment efficiency is 95.48. The results were in consonance with the predicted values. So this is the desirability value with regard to phosphatidylcholine, temperature, and as well as the stirring time. So outcomes of this research work, based on the implementation of the QBD for optimizing the phytosome, the formulation containing the phytoconstituent with the phospholipid ratio of 1:1 exhibited better formulation. A box Vencan design where the response surface methodology was employed for statistical optimization, which involves the determination of CMA and CQAs, interaction of phospholipid concentration, stirring temperature, and stirring time on the responses were recorded and studied. The optimized phytosome formulation exhibited maximum percentage yield, minimum particle size, and maximum entrapment efficiency. So through this DOE design, they could find that the particle size was found to be 231 nanometer, and the zeta potential value of the phytosomes is 23.2 millivolt, indicated that the phospholipids involved in the complex formation enhances the stability of the optimized formulation. So this is the another research outcome, novel umbelliferin phytosomes, development optimization using the experimental design for photoprotective and antioxidant activity. So here the optimization was carried out using 3 factors, 3 levels, using the Box-Vencan design. The independent variables are umbelliferin phospholipid ratio, process temperature, and reaction time. for the independent variables and for the independent variables. The two dependent variables are complexation rate and partition coefficient. 15 batches were prepared and evaluated for the complexation rate and as well as the partition coefficient using the design expert. The optimized batch was selected further for the desirability functions. Various 3D response surface graphs and counter plots were evaluated. A matrix design was construed to generate non-linear quadratic model equation, which is as follows. And these are all the different independent and dependent variable. Independent variables are umbelliferin phospholipid ratio. They have taken three levels: low level, medium level, and high level. Similarly, for temperature and time. For phospholipid to umbelliferin, they have used 1:1 to 1:3 ratio. The temperature is 40 to 60 degrees centigrade ratio, and time is 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, respectively. So the expected outcome is the complexation should be maximized, partition coefficient should be minimized. So this is the optimized batch was found by evaluating two responses, that is complexation rate Y1 and partition coefficient. The desirability of the optimized batch, that is F7, was found to be maximum with a value of 0.992. Then they have developed the regression equation of the fitted quadratic model for both the responses, that is complexation rate and as well as the partition coefficient. And this is the equation that depicts the both. So 15 batches have done prepared using the Boxman design, and this is the complexation rate and concentration of water, concentration of oil, and the value of partition coefficient. So as we discussed that the partition coefficient should be very minimum, which was observed with the F7 batch along with the complexation rate, that is also more. And this is the counter plot, 3D responses for the complexation rate and as well as the partition coefficient. So with regard to the above batch, the batch F7 exhibited the better partition coefficient and maximum complexation rate. Now this is what I discussed in the previous one. The umbelliferin phospholipid complex was prepared using solvent evaporation method for applying Box-Minkin method. The quadratic equation for each response was obtained only by statistically significant coefficient. P-value is less than 0.0405 for Y1 and P is equal to 0.0483 for Y2 were included, and a positive coefficient indicated that the response is favoring the formulation, while the negative value indicated an inverse relationship between the two factors and response. It was clear from the above equations that the complexation between the umbelliferin and phospholipid ratio, temperature had positive relationship, and time, that is the sitting time, had the inverse relationship with the complexation rate. On the other hand, the temperature and time had a positive relationship, and phospholipid umbelliferin ratio X1 had inverse relationship on the partition coefficient. So these are all the predicted values and as well as the observed values for the optimized batch. And the another outcome is optimized Ikarin phytosomes exhibit enhanced cytotoxicity and apoptosis inducing activities in ovarian cancer cell. So this is the source of this publication. These phytosomes are identified one of the potential drug delivery for delivering the cytotoxic agents. So the main intention of this study was to determine the drug delivery of cytotoxic agents, that is cytotoxicity activity against ovarian cancer 3 cell lines by phytosomal approach. So in this study, the authors have developed the ICO phytosomal formulation using Box-Minkin design, where they have the quality attributes are particle size, shape, and in vitro characteristics profile were studied. The optimized formulation exhibited enhanced in vitro drug release and also exhibited enhanced cytotoxicity activity against ovarian cancer cell. The three-factor box Mencken experimental design was employed to formulate the ICA Catharine phytosomes. The independent variables they have taken are ICA2 phospholipid molar ratio, that is X1, process temperature in degree X2, reflex time in hours X3. They constituted the independent variables. The responses were vesicle size, that is nanometer. So three levels were studied: low, medium, high. That is -1, 0, and +1. So X1 indicates the Catharine phospholipid molar ratio 1:1, 1:2, 1:3. The temperature was maintained at 40, 50, and 60 degrees centigrade. Reflex time in hours, 1 hour, 2 hours, and 3 hours. The response is vesicle size. That is, the desirability should be minimum. Then these are all the experimental runs. The R square value is 0.0998. Adjusted R square value is 0.9676. Lack of fit is also good. And other things are with regard to the particle size. So we can see from this chart, there is a dramatical decrease in the particle size with respect to the concentration of ICA phospholipid molar ratio, temperature, and as well as reflex time. So the data analysis using the ANOVA showed there is a significant effect of linear terms, that is ICA phospholipid ratio, temperature, reflex time on the vesicle size, where the p-value is significantly less than 0.05. In addition, the quadratic term X12 corresponding to the ICA phospholipid 90H molar ratio was significant at the same significance level. The effects of independent variables on the vesicle size, a negative slope was observed with regard to X2 and X3, indicated inverse relationship between the variable and the responses. There is a positive slope was observed with the variable X1, confirming that higher the Catharine to phospholipid molar ratio causes increase in the vesicle size. The positive sign of the linear term X1 and negative sign on the linear term X1, X2 confirms the observed trend. So this is the perturbation graph for the changing one parameter at a time, whereas keeping another parameter constant. Then the 3D response surface plot, three-dimensional response surface plots for the effect of the investigated variables with regard to vesicle size illustrated that the Catharine phospholipid molar ratio exhibited most significant effect on the vesicle size. The observation is also supported by the highest coefficient of the term X1 in the generated equation. There is an observed increase in the vesicle size with increase in the Catharine phospholipid molar ratio could be attributed increase in the phospholipid content in the phytosomes. So this is the three-dimensional surface plot for the effect of Catharine phospholipid ratio with regard to temperature, reflex time, and vesicle size of the phytosomes. And this is the optimization of the Catharine phytosomes. So 1:1.07 at a temperature of 58.7 degrees centigrade with a reflex time of 2.67 hours has given the predicted value of that is vesicle size, predicted value 98.25, observed value 108.15, and the reflex time 6.1% error. So conclusion of the study, Box-Mencken is an independent rotatable or nearly rotatable three-level response surface design that is widely used for the optimization in the pharmaceutical research. In this present investigation, they have concluded that three-level Box-Mencken design was applied for the formulation and optimization of the phytosomes with minimizing the vesicle size. The combinations of center midpoints of the edges of the design space represents the composition of the experimental runs. the adequate model fitting of the vesicle data, and the quadratic model based on the highest determination of the R square value. In addition, the values of predicted and adjusted R square values, correlation coefficient, are good agreement with the experimental designing, assuring the validity of the model. So finally, the Box-Venken design was successfully used to optimize ectotherian phytosomes with minimized vesicle size, and the phytosomes were almost spherical in shape. Another one is the QPD-based approach for phytosomes. This is one of the research outcome. So in this study, the phospholipid complex self-assembled phytosomal soft nanoparticles, evidence of enhanced solubility, dissolution rate, ex vivo permeability, oral bioavailability, and antioxidant potential were seen for the magniferin. The magniferin phospholipid complex was produced by the solvent evaporation method by using the central composite design CCD, in which the optimized MPLC was converted into MPLC SNP using the nanoprecipitation technique. A central composite design was constructed for the optimized value of 1:1.766, that is magniferin with phospholipid. The temperature is 50.55 degrees centigrade with 2 hours of the Stirling rate respectively. So this MPLC formulation was optimized using the central composite design to obtain a precise formulation on the formulation process variables. So the independent variables are namely MGN phospholipid ratio X1, that is weight by weight, reaction temperature is X2, and the reaction time is X3, that is hours. The extent of complexation rate or yield was chosen as one of the dependent variable in the study, and this has led to 20 possible trends. And these formulations were prepared one by one and assessed for the dependent variable, fitting the data, statistical model, polynomial equation. The disability plot was obtained, and the model is coefficients of variables, and the quadratic interaction terms have significant influence on the dependent variable. This is the polynomial equation that has the significant effect on X1, X2, and X3 for both the dependent and independent variables. So these are all the independent of various parameters. They were taken 5 variables starting from very low to high. The independent variables are MGN phospholipid concentration, reaction temperature, and reaction time. And the dependent variable is only the entrapment, that is percentage yield or extent of complexity. These are all the different runs that has been carried out using the CCD with regard to the extent of complexation with different experimental runs. Totally 20 runs have been done with regard to this formulation. Counter plot, they have observed that at a fixed MGN phospholipid concentration, increase in yield was increased. When the X2 and the X increase to the middle level, the yield is getting decreased. So this is the observation they have given from the counter plot. At a constant reaction time, the yield was also found to increase the X1, X2, and then further the decrease in the yield was observed. So at the fixed reaction temperature, the yield was increased due to increase in the X1, X3 to the middle level. Further, there is a decrease in the yield observed. So this is the yield increase. And further, when we are increasing the X1 and X3 to the mixed level, the decrease in the yield was observed. And this is the 3D response plot that indicates at fixed MGN, magniferin and phospholipid ratio, the yield was also increased. And as the X2, X3 increase to the middle level, then the yield is getting decreased. Moreover, at the fixed reaction temperature, the yield is getting increased. and increasing the X1, that is the polymer phytoconstituent ratio, and as well as the temperature to the middle level, then the yield is getting decreased. So as seen in this figure, the constant reaction temperature, the yield was found to increase with regard to X1 and X2, and the middle level, it is getting decreased. So this is the desirability. The analysis of the design that provided the one possible solution for the experimental trial that showed that the recommended values for the independent variables, the desirable value is very close to 1. And they have also constructed the overlay plot. So based on the overall combination of the desirability and design space, the values for the independent variables for X1, X2, X3 are given below. X1 is 1:1.76 weight by weight with regard to MGN and phospholipid ratio. X2 55.55 degrees centigrade, and X3 is 2.02 hours, that is time. And the validation of the model, a central composite design generated a model. Additional trial formulation using the optimal values have been done. So the actual yield is 90.35, which is very close to the predicted value of 90.14. So this led to the experimental confirmation with validated robustness of the design generated by the quadratic model. The predicted error was found to be less than 3%. So the next outcome is formulation and characterization of abigenin phospholipid phytosomes for improving the solubility, in vivo bioavailability, and antioxidant potential. So abigenin is a hydrophobic polyphenolic flavonoid, which is indicated for its antioxidant, antiviral, antidiabetic, tumor inhibiting activity. So the clinical potential of the abigenin exhibits poor aqueous solubility, less than 2.16 microgram per ml, and also faces rapid metabolism and low oral bioavailability. So in this study, they have implemented a full factorial design, whereas they have taken 3 factors, that is drug phospholipid ratio X1, weight by weight, temperature X2 in degree centigrade, extent of abigenin incorporation percentage, yield. So 2 independent variables X1, X2 were selected at 3 levels and coded as -1, 0, and as well as +1, resulting 3 over 2 factorial design of 9 possible combinations. The extent of abigenin incorporation, that is percentage yield, was defined as the dependent variable. So the experimental trials were performed with 9 possible batches that led to the polynomial equations, in which y is nothing but the dependent variable and b is the coefficient of the independent variable x. Main effects are x1, x2, represents the possible aggregate of both factors as they change independently from low level to high level. Apart from that, the interaction term x1, x2 shows how the response changes when 2 factors are simultaneously changed. The polynomial terms x12 and x2 describes the non-linearity of the process. So this is the codal levels of various formulation from low level, middle level, and higher level. They've used abigenin phospholipid ratio 1:1, 1:2, 1:3. Reaction temperature is 40 degree, 50 and 60 degree respectively. The extent of abigenin incorporation, which is nothing but the yield, is denoted as the dependent variable. These are all the different 9 runs I have done with the different levels of the parameters. The entrapment or extent of abigenin incorporation or yield is depicted with respect to all the formulations. So 3 full factorial design was employed using 9 experiments. The results indicated that the extent of abigenin was significantly influenced by both the parameters, namely temperature and as well as the drug phospholipid ratio. The extent of abigenin incorporation ranged between 67 to 94%. So these data were also used to construct the quadratic model, which is related to the percentage E, that is in epigenin incorporation. So this is the polynomial equation which was constructed. The coefficient values such as B0, B1, B2, B were statistically significant, which is less than 0.05, whereas B4 and B5 were found to be non-significant. And this is the counter plot for the entrapment efficiency. So the ideal value for the phospholipid to constant is 1:2. The temperature is 60 degrees centigrade, which gives an optimum entrapment efficiency. Then we will move on to the phytosomes in cancer therapy. Different phytosome formulations are formulated using different plant extracts like Clerodendron maniculatum, which is very effective against MCF breast cancer cell, MCF7. Hegel marmolas phytosome possess antioxidant, antiproliferatic, and anti-cancer activity. Luteolin phytosomes exhibit NRF2 and sensitize cancer cells to chemotherapeutic agents like doxorubicin. And another study has given the information that luteolin phytosomes with doxorubicin, where they could observe highest percentage of cell death in MDA MB231 cells. And these are all some of the formulations which are available. That is Siliban phytosome, Siliban from Silibarium minor. The indication for this phytosome is nutraceutical, antioxidant, and as well as hepatoprotective. Ginkopa phytosomes from Ginkopa biblica, which protects the brain and vascular lining. Green tea phytosomes, where it contains the abigalactin, 3-O-gallate Camellia sinensis, found to possess anti-cancer, antioxidant activity. And olive oil phytosome, which contains the polyphenols, Oleopyropia, antioxidant and anti-inflammatory activities. So like that, the various studies have been done with the different phytoconstituents and with the different activities, namely nutraceutical, systemic antioxidants, skin improver, circulation improver, food product, nutraceutical, etc. And these are all some of the patents that has been given for the innovation. Phospholipid complex with olive fruits or grapes extract. Enhanced oral viability has been seen. Cosmetic and dermatological composition for the treatment of aging and photo-damaged skin. So stimulates the collagen synthesis, enhances the interaction between the extracellular matrix and topical treatment. Phospholipid complex with thymosin beta-4 improved skin treatment. So like that, different patents are available for the different innovation. To name few with regard to the cosmetic and dermatological composition for the treatment of skin and wound repair, and phospholipid curcumin complex with piperine complex, which is used for the treatment of drug resistance, and complex of saponin with phospholipid, and pharmaceutical and cosmetic composition improved viability due to high lipophilicity. So coming to the conclusion of the study, phytosomes connects bridge between the conventional drug delivery system and novel drug delivery system. Phytosomes are advanced form of herbal extract which exhibit better absorption than the conventional herbal extracts, thereby improving the pharmacokinetic and pharmacological parameter, which will be an advantageous in case of various diseases. The nutraceutical products based on the phytosome technology become available on the site of action for liver, kidney, brain, heart at similar or less dose as compared to the conventional plant extract. Apart from that, the phytosomes have wide scope in cosmetic technology, many areas like skin repair, etc., that has very good prospect in future pharmaceutical application. So phytosome products offers extemporaneous application in the areas like cardiovascular, anti-inflammatory, and anti-cancer activity. They also play a vital role in delivery of hepatoprotective phytoconstituents like flavones, xanthones, and terpenes. Apart from that, phytosome products exhibit increased potential in cosmetic technology to name few anti-skin aging agents, especially in non-pathogenic conditions. So these are all some of the references related to this talk. Thank you for the patient hearing. Any queries, I'm happy to address. Stay safe and take care. Thanks to everyone for patient hearing. I am expressing my thanks to the management staffs of KLE College of Pharmacy for giving me an opportunity to discuss this topic in the August gathering. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir. The session is open for discussion. We have 3-4 questions to be answered, sir.
Yes, sir.
The first question is by Dr. Chitra. Application of phytosome is suited best for which therapy?
So can you repeat it?
Application of phytosomes is suited best for which therapy?
Sir, it can be given for anti-cancer therapy. It can be given for topical application, and it can be given for targeted applications also. If any condition related to liver, etc.
Okay. Sir. Another question by Vaibhavi. Can we prepare phytosomes using extract instead of individual phytoconstituents or phytochemicals?
Most of the studies, they have used individual phytoconstituents only, sir, for preparation of phytosomes.
Okay. So extract cannot be used, sir?
Extract can also be used, sir, but most of the papers which I came to understand, they have used isolated compounds, the magniferin,
Okay.
epigalactogen, like that, etc.
The problem with the extract is we have many of the polar as well as non-polar chemicals in that, and so
Yes.
you may not get an exact quantification of
Yes.
type
Yes,
of
sir.
chemicals. Doesn't
Yes. Yes, sir.
that may be the reason. That is why only the phytoconstituents are used.
Yes, sir.
When it comes to targeted drug delivery, I feel.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
When it comes to targeted drug delivery, chemicals which can cross the BBB, blood-brain barrier, those can be widely used in the form of phytosomes. So that has attracted a lot of grants also, and especially when you are using QBD,
Yes, sir.
and in that response surface methodology for
Yes, sir.
optimization of extraction techniques has
Yes.
gained a lot of interest nowadays.
Yes, sir.
There's another question. Which are the different methods of preparing phytosomes?
So similar like liposome, thin film hydration method can be used, sir. Thin film hydration method is one of the most reported method in the scientific articles, sir.
Okay.
In which we can dissolve the phytoconstituent along with the lipid in a suitable organic solvents, and that is subjected for the heating process, leading to the formation of thin film that can be suitably hydrated.
I had a doubt, sir. You have mentioned in the slides, like many of the phytosomes which are optimized by RSM, they have attained a temperature of around 50 to 60 degrees centigrade as per RSM. And the chemicals which were used were antioxidants, like you have shown quercetin, I believe.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So how about the stability of these chemicals? Was there any efficacy studies conducted?
There was no efficacy study has been. You mean to ask the stability with regard to exposure to different temperatures?
Correct, sir. Correct. Yes.
They have not reported, sir, actually.
No,
Even
because
I had a doubt, actually.
Yeah.
Because upon exposing to various temperature, the question of stability of the phytoconstituent is needs to be addressed, sir. Even I also have a doubt on that, actually.
Okay. What we
But
have
as
seen
far
is,
as- yes, please.
what we have seen is if you are using phytochemicals, then we do not go beyond 40 degree or 50 degrees centigrade for preparation of any of the formulations.
Okay, okay, sir.
So,
This is a case study which I have taken, sir, actually.
okay. Okay.
In that I have done, actually. We have done one quercetin preparation, sir, in which we have confined our temperature between 35 to 40 degrees. Less than 40 degree, we have exposed the phytoconstituents for the formulation of phytosomes actually. That has been used for the photoprotective effect for the skin affection.
Another question by Pratibha, sir. Which
Yes, sir.
dosage form is best to offer effective treatment using phytosomes?
Sir, as we have already discussed, they improve the absorption process. So I believe that in the form of capsules would be, that is by oral route, would be a best form of administration of phytosomes because it improves the oral bioavailability. So I suggest that the best route would be oral route.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Any other questions? Anyone would like to unmute their mic and ask a question? Okay. If there are, yeah, one more question by Vaibhavi. Can we prepare using? Can we prepare phytosomes using oil? Oh,
Uh, that's a good question actually, but we cannot get the rigidity now, sir. That's a problem. Stability is another problem. Lyophilization and other parameters are problematic. So far, I have not tried using oil actually. I have tried using the phosphatidylcholine and phosphatidylserine only. And I could get rigid structure of the phytosomes. I haven't tried with oil yet.
maybe you cannot lyophilize oil because phytosomes has to be freeze dried and stored for the stability.
Yes, sir.
That may be the reason, I believe.
Maybe due to oil, there may be a possibility for the leaching of phytoconstituent from the system if we use any oil, something like that. I haven't tried it so far, sir. I haven't tried so far. I need to try in the future.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Yeah, if there are no questions, then was there any research carried out on wound healing? Any literature you have come across, sir, where phytosomes are used in wound healing?
Wound healing, no, sir. They have prepared, but they have not evaluated for wound healing. They have given the information. It can be used actually, but in future, I am planning to do it on wound healing also, like diabetic food ulcer, something like that. I'm planning to carry out the project for some wound, like diabetic food ulcer, and all using the phytoconstituents.
Thank you, sir. You can see the comments, I believe, in the chat box. So it was a very informative session and novel approach among the pharmacognosist for drug delivery of phytochemicals. So many of us I mean, many of the youngsters, they have come across maybe this in their research. They can try with the new methods and new phytoconstituents, and they can go for a good publication and approach for grants. So
Yes,
I
sir.
request Dasan Kopa madam to conclude the session.
Even I am also interested in picking up some phytoconstituents that exhibits poor absorption characteristics and to improve the oral bioavailability. The oral route, I'm planning to work on that.
Okay, sir.
As you said rightly, for the wound healing, I'm planning to go for phytoconstituent that are used for this diabetic wound ulcer, etc. I wanted to carry out research in the coming years. Actually, I have developed only one thing for the photoprotective activity using the DNA nicking studies where we have found out the effect of quercetin with pure quercetin. The result is good actually, but I want to extend the study, or I want to extend this research with regard to the improvement of oral bioavailability of the phytoconstituent and as well as the topical application. Thanks a lot for your valuable suggestion and advice. Though I might have having some interruption in between. Thank you for your patient hearing to all the participants. And once again,
Sir, one more question from my side. That's you have used this phosphatidylcholine. Any
Yes, sir.
other agent other than this, sir? That
we
is
can
which
go for
be used as-
phosphatidylserine
because
also.
here you have shown it as it is having the hepatoprotective property.
Yes, sir. Synergistic properties. Phosphatidylcholine, it is having the synergistic property also.
Okay.
So in case of any liver dysfunction, where we are going to use some phytoconstituent for liver function, this can be converted into phytosomes, which can give you the synergistic activity of the phytoconstituent that is entrapped into the phytosomes.
No, sir. My question is any other agent other than this phosphatidylcholine that can be used or available? Is it available?
I have seen many papers in which they have used this chemical only, sir. Nothing else they have used because of the different solubility characteristics.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your exhaustive session, as well as it was very informative. That is application of QBD in development of phytosomal drug delivery using phytoconstituents. It was really interesting session, and you elaborated the sessions with many examples wherein different models of QBD were used, like you have already told about response surface, box Benken, central composite design, and all these designs are really very helpful in prediction of what actual effect is required, and calculation of a design space, meaning preparation of a design space, which would be very helpful for scale-up studies. So I request all the delegates who are juniors over here, who have just started your career, to understand the different aspects of QBD and learn what are the different techniques for the QBD and incorporate them into your research, which is surely going to help you and fetch you good results. And we in our college, we have a licensed software procured at the college level, and we have been doing at the MPharm level lot of work on this QBD. Each and every formulation has to undergo a screening through QBD. That is what is mandatory in our department, and it is fetching good results. It is giving good results with the minimum time, and even the cost of the chemicals gets drastically reduced. So I request, I request all the delegates who were, yes, pardon sir, Systat. We are using Systat, and recently we are using JMP also, sir, JMP also. And we have our PhD students are working on this JMP software, and we've got very good results. So that's why it is my sincere advice that we have been working and we are getting very good results. So since you are fresh or you are starting your career, so I believe that this kind of softwares will surely help you to go into depth of the research, and the outcome will be good. So with this, thanks a lot, sir, for sharing your expertise on this platform, and sparing your time and accepting our invitation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
I also thank all the delegates for their patient listening and very informative and interactive session over here. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. The next session will begin at 11:30. That is the last session of this FDP. The speaker for the session is Dr. Syed Ahmed, Associate Professor, Department of Pharmacognosy and Phytochemistry, Jamia Hamdard, New Delhi. The topic of his presentation is metabolomics and ethnopharmacology in pharmacognosy. So I request everyone to be log in at 11:15 a.m. and that will be the last session, followed by valedictory session at 1 o'clock. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Can I leave, sir?
Yes, sir, please.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.